Hello everyone and welcome back to another Deadline stream. It is game week 22 after a bit of a week off from FPL with the FA Cup. We are back. I need to offer a bit of context about exactly what is going on. If you can hear the storm that is going on outside at the moment, how are we? It is absolutely, I don't think in my life I have seen a storm like it, to the point where I am in a hotel and the alarms are going off because how bad the storm is, that they just had to do an announcement over the tannoys into all of the rooms to say, we don't know what is causing the alarm to go off, but you don't need to do anything about it at the moment. So who knows how long I'm going to be able to stream for? Who knows? There are sirens going on. I have never seen anything like it. Hopefully everything is okay. We will start with a little bit of a story time as well to try and explain how on earth I have ended up in this situation. Hopefully you can't hear it. Hopefully the mic isn't picking up anything at all. But yeah, we will talk about it. We'll do story time. We'll do it all in just a moment. But let me say hello to some of you in the chat at the moment. You do usual rounds of hellos. Then we will get into some questions and then we'll get into all of that good stuff as well. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for joining. Hopefully it all sounds all right. Yeah, live evacuation. That would be quite something. I don't think that's going to be the level we get to, but hello to Ian, hello to Madman, hello to Ewan, hello to FPL Verts, hello to Duncan, hello to Fiona. Who else have we got? Ozspike, Ewan again. We've got Exotic, we've got Dylan, Ian. Hello to all the members and moderators in Jordan. Hello to you all. So yes, let's start. Let's do some more hellos and then I will do story time for those of you asking. So who else have we got? We've got Diego, we've got Spaghetti, we've got Simon, we've got Reams, we've got Adam, we've got HSH, we've got FPL Thomas, we've got Above Average FPL, we've got 007, we've got Roma, we've got Callum, we've got Ted, we've got FPL NI, we've got Jilly. Hello to Dave. Hello to Ruby, Peter, Brighton, Yusuf, Sir Banks, Mahmood, Stephen, FPL Predictions, Lucifer, Totti, Gavo, Ben, Chad, Fred. Hello to you. Hello to all of you. And good evening. Good evening. It is nice to be back streaming, although this wasn't quite the situation that I was expecting it to be, and I have put Jadon Sancho in the goalkeeper section by accident. So I've basically got to keep talking for 2 hours so that hopefully you don't hear all of the background noise. But let me explain for those of you who are a little bit uncertain about exactly what's going on. So I am at the moment, I am still in Australia, and today I came back to Sydney. Oh. I don't quite know. Hang on. Sorry, yeah, my timer is also wrong. I got my time zones wrong. There we go. Right. Oh, no. Right. So, I am in Australia at the moment. This morning I flew from Melbourne to Sydney, right? The weather in Sydney is really not very good. It is an absolute storm, which meant the flight in itself was not great. We then had to get halfway across Sydney in this storm with all of our luggage that we've had for about 2 weeks, right? We finally get to our Airbnb at about 5 o'clock this evening. It is 8:15 now. Yeah, 8:15 now. And we got to the Airbnb about 5, realized that the Airbnb had no Wi-Fi, right? Which then, for someone who was meant to stream at 8 o'clock in the evening and then I've got to do videos over the next couple of days. Of course, that is a little bit chaotic, right? And the other thing they then said, oh, your 4G, your 5G will be fast enough. And if there's a torrential storm, your 5G is definitely not going to be fast enough. Anyway, as a result, we then found the nearest hotel that would take us at a cheap rate, sort of cancelled the night of our Airbnb and are in there at the moment. And yeah, the sirens are going off. It is all chaos in Sydney at the moment. Never did I expect this is what would be going on. But let's talk about a little bit of FPL. Let's get into the good stuff. I am in Australia just as a bit of a holiday with my family and with Holly as well. Yeah, a bit of an interesting experience, a bit of an interesting day, and it is now 8:15. I went out for dinner. I went out and it was chucking it down, got back, set everything up. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is fast enough, which it looks like it is. So hopefully everything is working as it should be. But let's start by talking a little bit about FPL. So I've got one transfer available to me. Sorry, two transfers available, and I plan on using one. CUNHA is the only player I think I'm really looking at selling. Why does the light keep going off? Honestly. My lights are breaking. Anyway, let's hope that stays on. Yeah, so I've got two transfers. I think CUNHA is the one that I'm looking at. He's a fine pick this week. I could look to sell him next week. The reason that I'm considering selling him this week is I do think the replacements that I would buy next week are the same, and they will have better fixtures than CUNHA this week. The ones that I look at are Bruno Fernandes. Again, the same fixture, but I would say Bruno is a better pick. Enzo Fernandez has a better fixture this week and next week. And the other one is Tavernier, who probably also has a better fixture this week and next week. So as much as I think CUNHA is actually a fine hold for me going into game week 22, I do think there are better replacements for them. There is an option, as someone has just mentioned in the chat, to look at Illiman and Dye of Everton from next week, because some of the upcoming Everton fixtures look pretty good. He's coming back from AFCON and he's dropped in price a couple of times. I think he's down to about 6.2 million now. So he will be a player that we start to add into the conversation from next week. But for me this week, it's Bruno, it's Enzo Fernandez, and it's Tavernier. The reason that Morgan Rogers and Bruno Guimaraes are both not in the conversation for me is they're too expensive. I'm not sure that they're worth the price that they're at. I think Bruno Guimaraes' upcoming fixtures are too difficult to really go there now. He only has 2 of the next 6 are at home, 4 away from home in the next 6 is not great for him when he definitely is a player who does better at home than away. And Morgan Rogers is up to 7.7 million. And I'm just not sure he's worth over $1 million more than Enzo Fernandez. He's not worth quite as much as Bruno Fernandez. I suppose Bruno's 9, so there is a bit of a price gap there. But he's not worth over $1 million more than Enzo. And I don't think he's worth 2 million more than Tavernier. Basically. It's basically where I'm at. So I've ruled out buying buying Morgan Rogers, and I've also ruled out buying Bruno Guimaraes. That's where I'm at, which leaves those 3 replacements for me. Bruno Fernandes, which I've got the money in the bank to do. I could go to Enzo Fernandez, slightly cheaper, target the long-term fixtures that Chelsea have got, or I go to Tavernier, buy the cheapest one. And actually from game week 24 onwards, Bournemouth look like a team that we will be wanting to target. So I've got a few options there. And of course I could just keep CUNHA. I think his minutes, he should start the next couple, but with all the players that they've got, I do think there's a little bit of uncertainty about who that sort of starting Manchester United front line will be, and will CUNHA definitely play in it. I suppose the benefit to him is out of all those Manchester United attackers, he's the only one who wants to play on that left-hand side, whereas you've got all of the others probably favouring the right-hand side unless you start to talk about Mount. But Mbermo and Ahmad are both more right-hand side players, whereas you've got CUNHA being able to play on the left. Let's talk as well about the chaos that has been Crystal Palace over the past 24 hours. Of course, it sounds like, well, Glasner is going, Mark Gay is going, and then there's also talk of Mateta leaving in January or at the end of the transfer window, end of the season. And there's also talk of Adam Wharton leaving potentially in January or most likely at the end of the season. So someone asked in the chat, what do I think of Daniel Munoz when he's back? I would not be touching Crystal Palace for the next 5 or so weeks until we see somewhat of a solidified Crystal Palace team. If we get to the end of the transfer window and Mark Gay is gone, Adam Wharton is gone, and Mateta is gone, Crystal Palace will be thankful they've got as many points as they do on the board, because suddenly their team will look as bad as some of the others in the league. Now, I do think defensively they'll still be okay, but I wouldn't be wanting to have any Crystal Palace players really in your team. It's massively knocked my confidence with having Chris Richards in my lineup because I don't trust them at the moment. I think they're all over the place. And it sounds like that when Glasner told Crystal Palace that he wanted to leave in October, massively coincided with their huge drop-off in form. And I don't think that's just a coincidence. So those of you wondering what I'm likely to do with Richards, am I going to keep him or I'm going to deal with him? I think I'm going to keep him because he's down to 4.4 million now. And if you were to buy a defender at 4.4, the only other competition he's really got at that price, unless you're spending a bit more, maybe one of the 4.5s, is probably a Sunderland defender. But when Richards has, you know, Sunderland away, Forest away, Burnley at home, Wolves at home, Leeds at home, between now and when I probably plan on wildcarding, I think I'm going to hold on to Richards, right? But it does mean that I want to rely on him a little bit less. And the plan will probably be to upgrade Dorgu to someone that I can trust over the next couple of weeks to get someone better in that position so I don't have to rely on Richards and I can play Gabriel, Anderson, Tarkowski, whoever it is that comes in, and Richards as a back three every week, and I can sort of take a judgment call on fixture and form and not have to worry about playing Richards too much at the moment. The defender I look at most in that position is Senesi. The fixtures for Bournemouth from game week 24 onwards look very nice, but I don't know how much I trust them as a defence, but I also don't know how much I trust a lot of the defences in the league at the moment. A couple of questions. Would I do Kevin Schade to Tavernier or Roll? I quite like Tavernier. I'm not certain I'd be selling Kevin Schade just yet, so I probably just keep hold of Kevin Schade maybe for a couple more and make sure that Tavernier is the player you want. Mateus Nunes, Semenyo, Cherki or Chalobah, bench one. I probably would play both of the City attackers and I'd probably bench Mateus Nunes and I'd play Chalobah over Nunes. Talking of Manchester City, I'd like to know if anyone in the chat is one of those few people that now has 5 Manchester City players in their team. If you're one of those people that have now got a triple up on City, plus you had Semenyo, plus you've also got Mark Gay, I would love to know if that is one of you in the chat, because there will be people out there that are now facing a situation where they've got loads of City players and you can't make transfers until you start to sell them, right? You can play with 4 or 5 City players in your team if you wanted to, but you can't make other transfers until you start selling them, right? You can't make transfers unless you go down to 3 City players. So if you've got 4 or 5 City, the plan for me and the recommendation would be to keep them until Wolves at home, unless you've got loads of other stuff in your team that you feel like you need to do a transfer with, in which case selling an O'Reilly, maybe even selling a Phil Foden might not be the worst transfers for you to make this week. But I think the recommendation would be to keep them all this week. If you want to bench some of them going into game week 22 so you don't have them all away at United, I think that's fine. But if you could go into game week 23 with 5 City players all starting at home to Wolves, that would be almost like a free hit and you'd be in such a good position. So if you have the luxury to keep your 4 or 5 City players for the next couple of weeks, that's probably what I would recommend to do. And even if you don't have 4 or 5 and you've only got 2 or 3 and you're wondering about selling a City player like an O'Reilly, like a Foden, and O'Reilly I don't mind so much because his minutes are a little bit unpredictable, but the rest of them I would be holding on to. I'd be holding on to your City players for the next couple of games, and if you want to sell them in 24, 25, that's when I think we can start to look to do it. I mean, I've never seen anything like it outside this window. Once the stream is over, if it's still going on, I mean, is it forecast to continue? Honestly, I've never seen anything like it. It's forecast to continue all through the night and into tomorrow. It's forecast to continue until about tomorrow afternoon. I mean, I've never... Honestly, this is normal rain in Australia. Ow! I've never... Honestly. So, a question about, are the double game weeks coming? So, I've spoken about double game weeks a little bit in the past couple of videos that I've done in my team selection and in the complete guide. So, with the doubles, the only double or blank we're expecting before game week 31, which is expected to be the blank for the Carabao Cup final, the only double we're really expecting before then is the Arsenal-Wolves double in game week 26. Now, they could provisionally announce it. We're expecting to know by game week 25 at the latest. That doesn't give you very much... notice, but the good thing is most of us will have a triple up on Arsenal and most of us won't want any Wolves players when they're double. Their second fixture is Arsenal anyway. If they just had a single fixture, you probably wouldn't want to buy them. Now, it might impact whether you go for a Mane or Krupi Jr. But the good thing is although it might be announced really late, it doesn't really change anything for us because we all got triple up on Arsenal. You all want to be making sure you've got the best triple up on Arsenal, whether they double or whether they don't. And outside of that, we're not really expecting a double for anyone else. Now, again, if you haven't watched the deadline stream, the reason for us not expecting any other doubles is because all the other teams that could double are expected to have a European qualifying game in those 2 midweeks, right? So the 3 midweeks where we could have the early doubles. Last year, it was game week 24 and game week 25. If you remember, it was the chaos of the assistant manager chip. Dare I mention the assistant manager chip this far into this season? It was about this time that we were getting it and chaos was about to begin. But last year it was game week 23, game week 24, 25. This year, those midweeks are game week 26 and game week 27. So it's game week 26, game week 27. Those are the 2 free midweeks, but they're only free for teams not in a European competition playoff. So those who finish in the top 8 don't have to play it, which is why Arsenal could double, because Arsenal are expected to finish in the top 8. Whereas the other fixtures, Chelsea expected to not finish in the top 8. And the other fixture is the Newcastle fixture, also Newcastle not expected to finish in the top 8. And the final one is Manchester City, Crystal Palace. Manchester City might finish in the top 8, but their opponent, Crystal Palace, we already know are not in the top 8. So again, we'll need a playoff. So the only team left in the Carabao Cup semi-finals who could force an early double that are also likely to finish in the top 8 of the Champions League is Arsenal. So that's basically the only early double that we're expecting, which makes things better and more important to save your wildcard until later on, particularly looking at game week 32, because game week 32 is after the first blank. It sets yourself up for the last few weeks of the season and gives you the ability to target the doubles and the blanks when they become clearer, and you don't need an early wildcard to target doubles and blanks because we're unlikely to get anything apart from Arsenal, where we already have a triple up on Arsenal. So there is a lot going on with talk about doubles and blanks, but actually all you need to know really is save all of your chips, probably until game week 32 onwards if you can, apart from if you want to wildcard early. You could triple captain in 26 if there's an Arsenal double, and just make sure you've got triple Arsenal because they're great, right? And even if you look at the Arsenal fixtures, if we get no Arsenal double until, let's say it doesn't happen, right? Let's say it doesn't happen until later on in the season. You still want a triple up on Arsenal for all of these fixtures, right? Forest, United, Leeds, Sunderland, Brentford, Spurs, Chelsea, Brighton, Everton, Wolves. You're still going to want a triple up on Arsenal for that run. So basically, the early double doesn't really do anything unless you decide that you want to play a chip, which could be the triple captain as an example. Hopefully that is a useful explanation for you all. Let's take a look at some of these questions as well. You're on wildcard. We've gone with Verbruggen, Chalobah, Gabriel, Timber, Enzo, Palmer, Bruno Fernandes, Rice, Rodgers, Haaland, Thiago, Dubravka, Cash, Senesi, Mane. I'm not sure I'd go Palmer because I think you're just going to have an issue on your hands pretty much every week about whether Palmer is going to start and whether he's worth the money or not. The issue because most of the wildcard drafts now are not having Saka in, you don't really have anything to spend the money on that much. Like, you've already got Rice, Rodgers, Bruno Fernandes and Enzo. Outside of that, who are you really going to punt on over Palmer? I suppose what I would do and what I did on the wildcard draft that I put out is give yourself more depth to deal with things going forward, right? So I did something like Palmer to Harry Wilson or Palmer to Bruno Guimaraes or Palmer to Tavernier, and that allowed Mane up to Calvert-Lewin. Now, the other thing you've got to remember on wildcard is if you're going Mane, you might think, right, Mane, great. Game week 26, he might have a double. But in game week 31, he would then also blank. And if you're not free hitting, that just doesn't really feel worth it going for Mane to help for a double, which part of it is Arsenal for Wolves, and then have an extra player for the blank. So I think if I was on wildcard this week, I would go Haaland, I would go Thiago, and I would go Calvert-Lewin, I think. Can I ask why I've played Anderson and bench Tarkowski? I'm almost certain Anderson and Anderson will be in my lineup. It's just whether I decide to play Tarkowski over Richards now. Do I trust that Palace can get a 0-0 away at Sunderland, or do I go and play Tarkowski, who's more likely to get DEFCON based on the predictions? I don't really love either of them. But I don't really feel like I want to make a transfer defensively this week. I think the only transfer I'd consider defensively at the moment would be Dorgu to Senesi. And I don't really feel like that's any more beneficial with Senesi going away to Brighton. Like, I don't think that's any better. I suppose those of you looking at the Palace defence, it is likely that those of you with Lacroix, he will become the main focal of the Crystal Palace set pieces, like we've seen Mark Guéhi be for the majority of this season. Now, Chris Richards could become a secondary target, a bit like Lacroix is at the moment, right? Does it go from being Mark Guéhi first and Lacroix second to Lacroix first and Chris Richards second? Is possible. Yeah, I think if you've got the ability, you've got someone you like those of you asking in the chat, would I play Rodon or Richards? I'd play Rodon over Richards. I think I'd probably play Lacroix over Rodon, just based off the attacking threat that I think Lacroix will have now that Mark Guéhi's not there. So, yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're at with that. A few more questions. You are stuck this week. One free transfer, CUNHA to Tavernier or CUNHA to Rice. So, but that means Raya out for a hit or start CUNHA and roll. So if your plan is to buy Rice regardless, then I would do CUNHA to Rice. But if you think you might just hold on to Raya for a while, then I don't mind Tavernier in his place. But I think there's lots of people asking, who would I sell CUNHA for if I didn't have a triple up on Arsenal? I would just be going straight for Rice. I would just be going straight for Rice, yeah. Walter will play. It's a real 50-50. If you've got Walter, I don't think enough of the forwards are worth buying this week. I would probably keep Walter for this week and sell him going into game week 23. Just take the chance, take the hope that he might play this game. Would I start Tavernier or Stack? I saw something that Stack is a doubt, so I would play Tavernier over Stack. Choose 2 to start from Mukiele, Tarkowski, Cunha and O'Reilly. So there's been a lot of questions as well about people asking to start or bench a Crystal Palace or a Sunderland defender. But just to talk generally, if you've got a Sunderland defender, I don't see a world where you'd want to bench a Sunderland defender this week. They're great at home. They're great for DEFCON. And they're playing a Palace team who are all over the place, who look absolutely... Who knows who's going to be in their starting 11 and who's going to have handed in a transfer request by the time that match rolls around. I would be starting any Sunderland defenders if you've got them. Who would I start, Voltemada or Anderson? I start Voltemada if you've got him, even if you're going to sell him next week. Anderson, the thing with Anderson, right, and I was thinking about this today, if you're going Anderson, you basically just want it to be a low-scoring week every week, which isn't a very good place to be in. Like, he's not a bad pick, and I know he got 7 last week, but you're basically hoping that he gets 4 and everyone else gets 2 or 3, and you've spent less money than those other players, like a Rodgers, a Bruno Guimaraes, an Enzo, a Harry Wilson, a Tavernier. You're basically going for a player who's cheaper than them and is going to get 4 points pretty much every week. And you just got to hope that all the others blank and it's a really low scoring week. That's the issue with him. But yeah, I think he's fine. Wildcard, would I buy Tavernier, Cherki or Semenyo? I'd go Tavernier. He's just the safest. I know Semenyo's look good, but I think there's no guarantee he plays the next 2. Same with Cherki. Would I play a 3-5-2 and start Lewis Miley? Or do Lewis Miley to Gallagher and bench Calvert-Lewin with Haaland? I wouldn't do Lewis Miley to Gallagher and bench DCL. I would just play Calvert-Lewin and just keep Lewis Miley for this week. I wouldn't be rushing into buying Gallagher. Best goalkeeper to buy until a game week 32 wildcard. So the ones up on the top, I think I like Rolfs. I think the Sunderland defence is really strong. If you're selling Raya, Rolfs, I like Verbruggen. He's quite cheap. Who are the others we've got in there? Sanchez, if you wanted to take a punt, but I'm not sure I'd run the risk of it now. Or the one that I would probably have a look at is Petrovic. Now, the next 2 are not great. That's the issue. But from game week 24 onwards, they look really good, Bournemouth fixtures. So have a look at Petrovic. I would probably just go for one of the top ones that's in my goalkeepers to buy graphic that will... Yeah, have a look at that ranking. You really want to do Semenyo to Gakpo, thoughts? I probably would keep Semenyo for the next couple. I don't actually think there's a guarantee that Gakpo starts. Because Ekatike is back and it could be Szoboszlai and Wirtz in those positions with Jones and Gravenberch. Gakpo probably will, but I'm not sure I'd sell Semenyo based on how he's looked. Unless we got closer to the deadline and Semenyo wasn't going to start. That's the other thing I need. That's one of the reasons I haven't gone early with my transfers, is because Man United and Man City are the early kickoff. So if we got to the deadline and suddenly Foden was benched, that would change my transfers, I think. Almost certainly it would change my transfers. Now, I probably would want to keep Foden for... I'd probably keep him for the Wolves at home game. But if we got to the deadline and Foden was benched, I would do something different, right? Let me show you what I would do. Oh, yeah. Let me show you probably... Oh, sorry, I keep hitting my mic. So, if we got to the deadline and let's say Foden was benched, right? I don't think I would sell Foden. I think I'd take out Cunha and I'd take out Mark Guiu. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to check that I've got money in the bank for Tavernier and then to do Foden. I've got loads of money. I've even considered these 2 transfers this week. I've actually considered buying Calvert-Lewin this week and doing CUNHA to Tavernier and Calvert-Lewin in and benching Elliot Anderson against Arsenal. And that will leave me money in the next couple of weeks to do Bruno in for Foden in a couple of weeks. Oh, apologies. There's the screen. So to do Mark Guiu to Calvert-Lewin and CUNHA to Tavernier will leave me money for CUNHA, for Foden to Bruno, and still having 1.2 to do a Dorgu upgrade as well. Which then leaves my team, I feel, quite well set up, actually. Now, Calvert-Lewin, I don't know how much I love some of the upcoming fixtures for him. Like Fulham at home, Everton away, Arsenal, Forest, Chelsea away, Villa away, City at home. Like, I don't know how much I love the upcoming fixtures for Calvert-Lewin, but he's been pretty good, right? His data's not been bad. Okay, he only played 20 against Liverpool, but 0.4 XGI against United, 0.5 against Sunderland. He got a lot against Palace, 0.5. Like, his data's pretty good. Yeah, his data's pretty good. I could also go Enzo in that spot. The only issue if I go Enzo, I think I looked at this the other day, is it doesn't leave me money to upgrade Dorgu, which is why I probably go Tavernier. But maybe that's just the better way for my team this week. I got Foden in there, and it would allow me to bench Foden this week as well, if Foden was to get benched. But this week, it would give me Tavernier and Calvert-Lewin instead of Anderson and Bruno. And I would say Tavernier and Calvert-Lewin is probably better. And you'd probably say the same next week as well. Now, Anderson I'd probably bench away at Brentford. Is all right. I probably would play Calvert-Lewin away at Everton over him, probably. Tavernier has got Liverpool at home, so it would be close between them. And then I've got a nice run of fixtures for Tavernier from 24 onwards. I've got Anderson, who I can play any week in an event of emergency. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested to know what the chat thinks about those two transfers instead. That's Tavernier and Calvert-Lewin in for Mark Guiu and CUNHA. Like, it would mean I don't have to buy Bruno for City and Arsenal, which I don't particularly want to do. But I think Calvert-Lewin's pretty good. Like, even when he was blanking earlier on, when everyone bought him and he was blanking, his data was still not bad. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's one I'm going to have a look at. Well, I've only got about an hour to have a look at it. Definitely not Bruno yet. What to do with Bo? So what I would do in this scenario is I would roll in 23. I would probably roll 23. And then I would do in 24, I'd do Foden and Dorgu probably to like Senesi and Fernandes would probably be the play. If Foden suddenly looked really good, then I could do Saka to Bruno, and then probably Dorgu to Timber. That's also possible. So there are routes that this Tavernier Calvert-Lewin, and it does just give me a bit of a better sort of depth and yeah, a bit of better depth. You know, part of me actually would like to see a Foden bench league, but yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough about my team. Let's answer a few more questions. Why not Enzo instead of Tavernier? Because it doesn't leave me any money to do a defensive upgrade if I wanted to. Gay's still a Palace player, so you could add him to get extra City. I mean, you could in theory, but I don't think we even know if he's going to be ready for Wolves at home next week for City. We don't know how long it's going to take. We don't know if he'll go straight in for that game or not. So I wouldn't be doing that. Would I start Enzo or Tavernier? I'd start Enzo over Tavernier, yeah. Team leaks, I don't know. I don't know. City, United, both are quite big. Both are quite big teams. But we haven't had that many leaks in the past from them. I suppose not in the past, but over the past few weeks, right? There's been quite a lot of City early kickoffs, and we haven't had that much on them. So yeah, I mean, we might get something. If Foden was to be benched, I'd almost certainly do Cunha to Tavernier and Guiu to Calvert-Lewin. But I think if I don't get any news, I mean, the United away at Arsenal next week, I don't love, but I do want Bruno long term. But it would give me a little bit of time to dwell on it. The issue is, right, if we look at Tavernier, the only thing is with Tavernier, right, is I know everyone's like, well, he's on penalties now, so he's a better pick. And he is a better pick now he's on pens, but he's never been a particularly good pick. He's got 86 points from 19 starts. So what's that? 4 points a start? That's not bad, I suppose. But it kind of is. It's quite often blank, 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 haul, blank, blank. Okay, then a return. But he just gets like a couple of hauls every so often, which, maybe with that run of fixtures that they've got, he can get it. I do like Tavernier. Maybe I'm talking myself into that double swap, but it would also mean I don't have to play Elliot Anderson this week. Now, he's never the end of the world to play. Bruno is rising tonight. I saw that. But if we got to the United game and he blanked and then he's got Arsenal away, the transfers in for him would massively stop. Pick 2 out of these 3, Enzo, Wilson and Rodgers. I probably would just go Enzo, Rodgers. Get the raw stats and no returns monster, David Brooks. He has looked good, but I saw there was something wrong with his ankle, so he might be a slight doubt, which is why I'd go Tavernier and Tavernier on pens. Like, if Bournemouth get 1 pen between now and game week 31, like, that's probably fine if he's on them. Like, that's probably a good enough position to be in. You have Rolfs in goal. Should I start Alderete and bench Tarkowski? I'd start Alderete over Tarkowski. Yeah, I know you're worrying about having the double up, but I would still do it. I definitely would. Why are people overlooking Raul on Wildcard? His long-term fixtures are so much better than DCL. Plus, he's in good form as well. That is true. I could look at Raul Jimenez. How long is Muniz out for? Like, I think he will be a sell. Muniz is expected back in about a month, which isn't that many games, is the only issue. So if you look at Calvert-Lewin, I mean, the fixtures for Fulham are probably slightly better. But you might only get 5 games. I mean, you're probably going to get more, right? You probably get the next 6 for him. But then after that, yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure the stack rumor was just on Twitter. Any Ekatike news? No. There was no update. Well, there was no new injuries for Arnie Slot in the press conference, so we're just expecting him to be okay. Ritvicac. Let me take a look. Which 2 players would I start? Thiago, DCL, and Wilson. I mean, you're definitely starting Wilson, and I probably would bench Thiago, but you might not want to do that, in which case bench DCL. But I would probably bench Thiago and start Cash or Alderete. Probably Alderete. His floor is definitely higher. Probably would start Alderete. Bench 1, DCL, Gordon, Foden, Matoma, Semenyo, Wilson. Probably Matoma. Best keeper to buy: Rolfs, Verbruggen, Kelleher. I'd probably just buy Rolfs now. I think we know we can trust with him. Should I do Dalot to Timber and play double Arsenal defence, but then have to bench one of Richards, Rodon, or Anderson? I'd happily bench Richards. To be honest, I'd happily bench Anderson or Roll and play two of them. I'd do Dalot to Timber and I'd get him in and set yourself up with a double Arsenal defence is probably what I would do. Would I do CUNHA to Rice? Yeah, if I didn't have triple up on Arsenal, I think CUNHA would be going to Rice. If I hadn't bought Rice already, then I would be doing CUNHA to Rice, yeah. 4 City for you, absolutely keeping them. Definitely. If you've got 4 City or 5 City, I would be keeping them for the next 2 games and then deal with it in 24. Why bench Matoma? I know he's back fit and available, but I still just don't trust him for returns that much. It's been a while since Matoma's been consistent in terms of his output. So yeah, that's probably why. Golden Boy, start 2 of these, Thiago, Semenyo, and Enzo. Well, Enzo definitely starts, right? You're not benching Enzo. Thiago or Semenyo. I would probably play Semenyo based off form and bench Thiago, but that's as a Thiago non-owner who's just been pained by the fact that he keeps overperforming his data. And if you're a Thiago owner, you might look at me and say, Harry, why on earth would you bench Thiago when he's just scored 5 goals in 2 games? Which I also completely understand. Would I do Timber to Gabriel, CUNHA to Tavernier, or Raya to Rolfs, Lacroix to Gabriel, CUNHA to Tavernier? I'd keep Timber, so I'd do the Raya to Rolfs transfer. I'd do the Raya to Rolfs move, yeah. Thiago Penn on the first half hour. I mean, there's a Chelsea fan saying to bench Thiago. I'm sure this can't go wrong at all, can it? My team needs a wild card. Oh dear. Well, thanks, because I'm not playing it until game week 32. I don't know. I think it actually looks all right. I think with a couple of moves over the next couple of weeks, I think I'll be okay. I actually think it would be fine. Start 2 of Anderson, or Richards. I'd probably bench Richards with the fixture and just the way that Palace look all over the place at the moment. People asking about City team news. I have to say, it's a really weird feeling talking about like team news and stuff like that, because to me, it's almost 9 o'clock at night. Now, I will forever have sympathy and send my love and thoughts to anyone who plays FPL with these time zones every single week, because it messes with your brain a little bit. I'm basically doing a match of the day challenge while being asleep, because the first game doesn't kick off until 11:30 tonight. And then all of the 3 o'clocks are at 2 a.m. And then the Forest Arsenal game is at 4:30 a.m. So I will wake up at probably about 7 or 8, because that's what my body clock is on. And I'll wake up and realise there's been loads of football, check the scores and not be able to go back to sleep. And I will have had basically all my players play, because the only other players that I've got are Verbruggen at the moment. And that's it. And Tarkowski, who's on the bench. So part of me would want to start Tarkowski, but should I do Dalot to Timber and play double Arsenal defence? I'd rank those defenders: Rodon first, Anderson second, Richards third. And it doesn't help that I've actually really hurt my back for the past few days, and I thought it was getting... I did it in the middle of last week, and like I could just about go for a walk. And then this morning I thought it was better. It'd been better for the past couple of days. So I decided to go for a run this morning. And yeah, it's made it even worse than it was. The lights are flickering. Honestly, the electricity's going in this hotel. What is going on? Huh? No, it's my lights as well. It's all the electricity is... What? I mean, if I go into absolute darkness or the stream just completely ends, then I do apologise. That's not my doing.
Please tell them that I'm just sitting here at the back of the stream.
Yeah, Holly is just chilling there because she was going to go out and go for a walk around Sydney and just go and get an ice cream or something, but now can't leave the room because the hotel is in chaos and it's chucking it down with rain. So Holly is just having to sit and listen to 2 hours of Deadline stream. So if you want to send your love to Holly to apologise to her that she's got to sit through this. Pay your electricity bill. It's not me. It's not me. Keane and CUNHA to Gabriel and Tavernier. Yes, two really good moves. Yeah, Keane, CUNHA. I think Ross did something similar to that. I don't know if it was Keane that he sold, but I think he did Dorgu. I think he did Dorgu to Gabriel and he bought in Ghana. I think is what he did, yeah. Harry the Runner, thoughts on Bowen, Bruno G, Semenyo on the bench. I think I'd be getting rid of Bowen. I think he's one that I just got wrong. Yeah, West Ham look all over the place. Paqueta, we don't know if he's going to play or not. I don't think Bowen's ever a huge issue, but I just don't think he's worth the money. Bowen dropping tonight. I mean, you could play him against West Ham and then look to sell him. Or play him against Spurs and then look to sell him. I don't think Minter will start, no. They say hello.
No, I'm looking. It's cute.
They want to...
Someone said, are you visiting the reef? Wow, we had plans.
We planned to go and visit the reef, and then there were storms there as well. It makes the weather in England look, frankly, quite nice at the moment.
There's actually a cyclone there.
Where? In the reefs?
Yeah.
All right, well, we're not going there because there's a cyclone. Anyway. It seems to have just be windy.
Duncan wants to know why I'm not teaching.
Oh, we can do that after.
We'll tell him after.
Nico O'Reilly, Keane, Anderson, Gabriel, Dorgu. What should I do? Who do I get? I would take Keane out definitely first. And actually, so someone else, one of my members was doing a defensive transfer this week and they couldn't afford Chalobah. They already had a triple up on Arsenal and they already had like Alderete. I like Alderete, but if you don't want them, I'd be tempted to just buy Senesi. Yeah, I would have a look at Senesi. Now, this week it's not great. He's got Brighton away, but he's similar to Richards and Anderson. Next week is Liverpool. Again, not that great. But from 24 onwards, I think he'll be very popular. Holly's not making a transfer this week. I had a look at her team when we were out getting something to eat before the stream, and she can't afford to get Gabrielle this week until she sells Ekatike next week. So we're probably going to leave that transfer, aren't we, H?
We are, but I do my team all by myself.
Yeah, all by yourself. No help with your team. Munoz is not back yet. He might be in... he might be back in training, but he's not going to be back in the squad this week. He might be back in the squad next week, but yeah, not back in the squad this week. Ben White or Lewis Skelly, I wouldn't go with either of them. Hang on. What did I just see on Instagram? Chris Richards has posted his match day graphic. Always nice. Tends to mean players are going to start. Not always. Some of them it's more helpful for than others, but always nice. Interesting. Just go and check because Enzo normally posts, but not yet. But I'm sure he will. Any Turkey news? No, nothing. Ooh. What has just happened there? What have I just pressed? Oh. We're back. Keep or sell O'Reilly. I'd keep him for the next 2 and then probably sell him. If you want to sell him this week, it's not that bad. But yeah, I'd probably keep him for the next 2. Tarkowski or Garner, who would I start? I'd start Garner because I think Tarkowski will get 3 points. Enzo Fernandez's birthday today. If you want a narrative, it is a good narrative. Will Cole Palmer start? Yes. Part of the reason is I'm not certain on buying Enzo is I would quite like to see a Chelsea lineup with Palmer, with Enzo, with Caicedo in. Like, what's the lineup going to be at home to Brentford this weekend before I decide? Yeah. What are my thoughts on Enzo Lafie? So I think the thing with Enzo Lafie, sorry, I think with the fact that he missed the penalty last week, it makes owners more likely to not be happy with him. But actually, if you're looking to buy him, if he'd have scored that pen last week, we'd all be looking at him. So I still think Enzo Lafie is a fine option. It's just whether he loses pens. That is the big question. If he loses pens, then you're suddenly not being worth it nearly as much. Is it worth doing Raya to Sanchez or Rolfs and Cunha to Rice? Yeah, I'd go Rolfs. I wouldn't go Sanchez, I don't think. You're now debating between Timber and Chalobah. I'd go, if I'm buying one, I'm buying Timber, yeah. Thoughts on Chalobah with Chelsea looking to sign a new centre-back? I think Chalobah will keep his place. But there is going to be, I said this in my video yesterday, I don't think any Chelsea player starts every Premier League game between now and game week 27. I might be wrong. And Enzo Fernandez has the highest chance of doing that. And I suppose Sanchez does as well, because he's a goalkeeper and goalkeepers rarely change. But my prediction is that no one will start every game. Caicedo, that's a lie. Caicedo probably will. But out of the ones that people are... out of the ones people are considering. SJH, I do apologise. Now she knows how your wife feels every week listening to the stream in the background. I mean, Holly listens because this is my work, but unfortunately your family listen just because that's your hobby. But I do appreciate your support, and to all of your family as well who might be listening in the background now, thank you and good morning to you as well. Raya, Stat, Cunha to Rolfs, Enzo, Rice for free. Yeah, nice transfers those. Raya, Stat, Cunha to Rolfs, Enzo, Rice. Yeah, I think a lot of you, if you've got Raya and you're selling Cunha and you're looking for a replacement, doing 2 transfers of Raya to someone and getting Rice, it feels like a very reasonable thing to do. Thoughts on Gay going to City, if you should keep him? I would keep him for the next couple, yeah. Unless if you've got a real issue, like you've got Keane, you've got Mark Gay, you've got Dorgu, I'd still sell Keane first. I think. Right, there is 1 hour to go till the deadline. If you haven't already, please could you drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're going to put it in subscriber only mode now. You literally have to subscribe for 1 second to start using the chat. And if you want to help out the channel, support the channel, and you've already subscribed, then please just drop a like on the stream. There are 5,000 of you in who haven't liked the stream yet. Will there be a double for Arsenal in 26? Most likely if they knock Chelsea out of the cup. We're not out yet. We're likely to get knocked out. But if Arsenal don't win, then no. It needs Arsenal to win in the cup. We might get a provisional announcement like we did last year. If Arsenal win in the cup against Chelsea, get to the final, then Wolves, Arsenal will be moved forward. That's what we got last year. And we might get again this year. And it might even be as early as the middle of next week. I don't think it will. Who are my targets before game week 32 wildcard? So I like the triple Arsenal. I think if I do Dorgu to another defender like Senesi, that will probably tide my defence over until wildcard. Unless there's someone specific that I don't feel like I'm missing out. Unless I wanted to buy Timber. But... yeah, Dorgu to Timber or Senesi. And then the players that I'm looking at selling are probably Anderson, Cunha, Foden. Maybe not Anderson. Anderson can just sit on the bench, but I might upgrade. So I'll probably sell Cunha, Ekatike, Foden, Dorgu, and one of Anderson or Guiu. That's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 transfers. And I've got 2 now. Another one next week. Ekatike can stay for a while. He'll probably go once I want to buy Thiago. But like Burnley at home, Bournemouth away, Newcastle at home, like are fine fixtures. Game week 25 is not great at home to City, but I don't love Thiago's fixtures that much either. No Munoz consideration. It doesn't sound like he's going to be in the squad for Sunderland. He could be the replacement, right? When I say I'm going to do Dorgu to someone, it might be Dorgu to Munoz. Like it could be Munoz, it could be Chalobah, it could be Timber if I free up an Arsenal spot. It could be Senesi as well. I wouldn't triple captain. I wouldn't be playing any chips this week. Maybe wildcard if you want to, but no. I wouldn't triple captain. Save it for the double game weeks. Yeah. Yeah, nothing on City yet. If anyone sees anything on Twitter, please do tag me in it. I don't see why Foden wouldn't start. But part of me thinks it would actually make my life a bit easier because I would do the Tavernier DCL moves. But no, nothing yet. No. Okay. Is it safe to start Semenyo? I think he probably does start, although not guaranteed. There's definitely someone out there with the teams and it's super annoying. I mean, there is, yeah, right? It's just the way that the leaks work, that there will be someone, even if that someone is Pep and his assistants, effectively. There are people that know the lineup, so it's just how wide that pool goes and it falling into the hands of someone who's happy to share it. But yes, there are enough people that know the lineup now. Do I think Hincapié is a must sell? I think there's potentially start. I think Hincapié, if you can do Hincapié to a Gabriel or a Timber, I would just get it done if I'm honest. Thank you all very much for the likes as well. We're very close to 1,000 likes, so I appreciate it all very much. If you haven't, we're just over 100 away, so thank you. Tavernier or Thiago? I probably would play Tavernier over Thiago. Yeah, I play Tavernier over Thiago, but again, I'm a Thiago non-owner at the moment, so you've got 4 City, Semenyo, and 5 free transfers. Roll or do O'Reilly to Timber? I do O'Reilly to Timber. I think if the majority of you who've got 5 City or 4 City, one of them's O'Reilly in the majority of cases, and he would be the one I would sell. Isn't Mukiele better than Alderete? So with Ballard back in the team, Mukiele's playing some matches at right back, which definitely impacts his DEFCON. So no, I actually prefer Alderete, and Alderete is 0.3 cheaper than him now. FPL Hey, if I had to captain one, would I captain Enzo, Bruno Guimaraes, or Rodgers? Probably Enzo if I had to pick one of them. I don't like any of them for captaincy though, really. Xhaka Cunha to Tav Enzo, or Raya Cunha Xhaka to Rolls Rice and Enzo. Yeah, I like the second one. Yeah, Xhaka Cunha to Tav Enzo. I like Rolls Raya Enzo definitely more. Yeah. Would I start Gravenberch or Minter Traffeur? I'd start Gravenberch if you've got him at home to Burnley. Would I consider doing a deadline stream with Ross or Oscar? You want to hear you both the last hour before the deadline? 2 different streams. Deadline streams are difficult because we're often busy. Like, we can happily do content together, but deadline streams maybe not. We did do it once, like game week 1, but it was absolute chaos. It didn't really work. Start Raul, Cherky, Rodon, and Van Heck. Start 1. Probably Jimenez. Thoughts on Chalobah with Chelsea? I think we answered that. Bench 1, Saka, Tavernier, Wilson, Foden, Thiago. Probably Thiago or Tavernier. Probably Thiago. Would I waste a free transfer, Sharders to Tavernier or roll? I don't think you need to do Sharders to Tavernier, no. We're transferring Timber to Gabriel. If Gabriel, to get Gabriel, if your only way is selling Timber like it was mine 2 weeks ago, I did it and I absolutely have not looked back. So yes, if you can get Gabriel and to do it you have to sell Timber, then that's fine by me. Enzo stunk the last time we had him. This is part of the reason that I'm a little bit cautious of buying Enzo. And it's actually a very good skill in FPL to be able to forget the points that you haven't got or lost by not buying a player previously or the player blanking previously. So forgetting what Enzo did before and buying him again if you think he's the best pick is not a bad place to be. Yeah, I just want to plan that team. Let me get plan FPL up because I want to see what it looks like if I do the Tavernier. I do the Tavernier moves and buy Calvert-Lewin. I want to see what it looks like for my team going forward because I really like Calvert-Lewin. I think he's a great pick. Let me walk you through it. And for those of you who are new to joining the stream, hello. You're chancing Enzo. Listen, with the fixtures you've got, then there's no issue with that. Oh. So, I don't know why predicted points always benches my strikers. That might be an indicator, but I'm not playing Tarkowski. Right. So, that would be CUNHA out to Tavernier, who's still only 5'5", taking set pieces and on pens, and Mark Guiu to Calvert-Lewin, right? While I'm doing it, please tell me if you agree with these transfers or not. The other ones I could buy is Raul Jimenez and go for a different Leeds player. I could go Calvert-Lewin, Igor Jesus, I'm not buying. Wilson, no. Who else is there? Yeah, Strand Larson, if he got a new club, would be interesting. But Evan Nielsen, but I'm not going to buy a double up, I don't think. Thiago, I can actually get Thiago. Ooh. I can just get Thiago. Well, that is interesting. I mean, his fixtures are also not great. But from 27 onwards, you will want him again. I could just do Anderson to Tavernier. Yeah, but then I'm stuck with CUNHA, so that doesn't really fix that. I could go Thiago. Hang on. Then I'd play Thiago over Anderson probably, and yeah, and you over Dorgu. Sorry, my back. Tarkowski in next week. Tavernier would probably play. I've got Thiago at home to Forest. Foden, Rice, Ekitike, Haaland, Saka. Just wait and get Thiago later. Yeah, probably the play, but I'm just playing around, and it also leaves me 0.8, which will be. I mean, it's the perfect amount to do Bruno in for Foden, so I might get priced out. Is the only issue. And then this doesn't allow me to buy a new defender, which I don't need to do until, I would say, this week, right? 24. I would need a new defender. Mane for the double. The issue with going Mane for the double is you'll then have buying a player who blanks in 31. So you're not actually gaining a fixture if you keep him for all that time, which you probably would. Do I start CUNHA over Chalobah? No, I'd start Chalobah. What to do with Bowen? The issue is trying to find a forward that I really think's worthwhile. I think that's the issue. Finding a forward that's worthwhile. So I would probably hold on to Bowen, I think. Bench Cash or Tarkowski. I'd definitely play Cash over Tarkowski, yeah. Yeah, it just means that once we get to like this week, 24, I'd probably want to do something like Dorgu to Senesi, and I wouldn't have the money for it without a second transfer, without a hit. I think I just back. Do I just back against? Thing is, the issue I've got, right, and maybe I should explore a route for Thiago sooner. Is if, like, say, let's say Thiago scores, right? Let's say Thiago scores, and then he's got Forest at home, Villa away. It's quite a lot to keep going without him. I mean, he could blank, right? But he could blank. Yeah, I don't know. It has got me wondering about just going Cunha to Tavernier and upgrading Guiu. It's just whether I go Calvert-Lewin or Thiago, and I think I would just go Thiago, I think. I mean, those upcoming fixtures are not great, but I just don't like going against him every week. Dango back, Thiago pens. It's a gamble, but Thiago has form on his side. Fellow Chelsea fan Harry, surely Thiago scores today. We look awful. I mean, we are better at home, but yeah, Cunha to Bruno Fernandes and Van den Berg to Alderete, 2 frees, and leaves you with no money. I don't mind Van den Berg to Alderete to free you up the money. I'm going to want Thiago at some point anyway, right? And then 24, I've got the choice of Anderson over... Sorry, that would still be Foden. Issue is, Foden will probably drop. I think Foden will probably drop again, won't he? And Bruno's going to rise, in which case I get priced out. Or do I? Does the Foden drop impact? The Foden drop doesn't impact. Okay. And 1 Bruno rise is fine. So I probably wouldn't get priced out of it. Who would I start? Thiago or Cherky? Who do I start? Thiago or Cherky? I probably would play Thiago just because you know he's going to start. Sell Voltemada to Ekatike. Sell Voltemada to Ekatike. Probably not. The thing with Ekatike is I completely get, and I've seen the same thing with other Liverpool players. I completely get that you want a Liverpool player this week, right? Burnley at home. But after that, you don't really want a 9 million Ekatike after that. So, no, I probably wouldn't. Am I keeping Saka? Yeah, I don't see a plan to sell Saka unless Palmer looks like the player that I want. In which case, then I just do Saka to Palmer. But until then, I'll be keeping Saka, yeah. Unless Saka gets benched again. And if he starts to become a real minutes risk, which I don't see happening, then I'll also consider selling him. But at the moment, I don't have a reason to sell him. Thoughts on Cucurella? Again, I think we need to see the Chelsea, unless you're buying Chalobah or you're buying Enzo, it's difficult because Cucurella is very expensive if he's going to play inverting left back. But if he's going to be playing that sort of left number 10 role like he's done in the past, then he could be very good. How do I feel about captaining Haaland in the early kickoff? I don't mind it, actually. I mean, Haaland against that United team, I don't mind it. At least I've got a Liverpool attacker. Wirtz is an interesting one. Again, Wirtz feels the same as Ekitike. I think he's good for this week, but after that, how much do we really need them? I don't know. No money needed in mids. Why not have Haaland, Ekitike, Watkins up front? I don't really have the money for Watkins. I think Haaland, Ekitike, Watkins is slightly too much. When you're going to want... I mean, if you don't have Saka, right, and you've got double Arsenal defence, you can do it. But if you've got Saka, then you can't really. Nobody thinks Rodgers for captain. I mean, if he wants to continue scoring from 30 yards every week, then I think it's fine. But yeah, I think only in that case I would do it. But I don't think I'd be captaining him, basically. Sorry, I got distracted. But yeah, basically with Rodgers, the same with Bruno Guimaraes, is their data is the same as Harry Wilson and the same as Tavernier. And he is 2 million more expensive than those players. I just don't see it, really, if I'm honest. Like, I think Rodgers is consistent and will tick along, but I'd rather have a cheap option. I'd rather have a cheaper option and save the money for something else. This, Harry get Rodgers, he's quality. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a fantastic footballer, but... And maybe he is good enough that he can just keep scoring from 30 yards. I actually would love a Foden bench league. That would actually make it easier to decide what to do. And I have a pretty good replacement for it. Do I think Semenyo starts? Probably, yeah. Where would Xhaka go in my benching ranking? Probably similar. He's probably quite low down. Although you have to add the point that he maybe has a slightly greater chance of taking penalties. Rodgers' data has definitely improved, yeah. Yeah, Wirtz has been much better recently. He has, but again, the thing with Liverpool is from next week, they won't be all the players that we want. They won't be the ones that we want. This is interesting to me, this potential plan. Right, let me just play it out in my head a little bit again. So Tavernier, who I like, and I almost... went with Tavernier over going for Bruno as my number one, even if I don't buy Thiago. But the fact that it gives me the money for it is interesting. It is interesting. So that would be Thiago in. I'd probably bench. I'd have Anderson first sub. Something like that. Tavernier. I'd play... This, apparently my game week rating is mid. My mid and attack is rubbish, apparently. Game week 23, Tarkowski, Anderson, Gabriel, and Verbruggen. I would roll. I'd have a choice of Anderson versus Tavernier, but Tavernier being on pens mean I'd probably bench Anderson. Again, he's a pretty nice first sub. Serves me right for not being in Melbourne. I was until this morning. Melbourne was lovely. Weather was nice. Really nice city, Melbourne. I have liked Sydney as well. I didn't see Adelaide very much. We weren't staying in Adelaide, but Melbourne we really liked. And Sydney has been nice, apart from the fact that there's a storm going on right now. Just roll. I mean, I don't think I'm going to roll. I'm almost certain I will do something. Great coffee. Yes. I mean, the coffee is great. Coffee is great. So that would give me Thiago for that, and then Tavernier, right? And then in 23, the good thing is, right, for that Thiago game, where Thiago's got Arsenal at home, Anderson has Wolves at home. So it would be the perfect opportunity to bench Thiago against Arsenal and play Anderson. I'm not considering Semenyo, no. Do we think we'll get a City leak? I mean, we haven't had it previously. The fact that there's more focus on it makes me... I feel like there probably have been weeks where... I'm completely guessing it, right? But I wonder if it's not worth them risking leaking something unless there's a real benefit to them. So, like, you never get a City leak when they're like the Sunday afternoon game, right? We never get an early leak when that's the game because there's no real reward for the risk, particularly because they are focused on the FPL market. Whereas when it's the early kickoff and there's a lot of focus on it, maybe the risk makes it more better for them. But yeah, the only issue with this plan is would be in 24. I would do Foden out probably to Bruno. Get Bruno in 24. And do something like that. I'm happy. Yeah, I am just gambling against a lot of very highly owned players. I would also quite like I mean, I would probably play Richard. If Dorgu kept his place, I could do that. I would quite like a Senesi, but I don't know quite how I free up the money for it. I mean, Ekatike is an interesting one because if there's another forward that looks good, then it could be Senesi that goes, the Ekatike that goes. But if not, it might have to be Tarkowski. Like Tarkowski to Senesi that week. Where is he at? 4-8. And that would give me money to do Dorgu to someone else the week after. In 25, Dorgu to... I don't know, 4-8 again. Probably less by then. 4-6 or something. I mean, I don't even know, like... There's no good... I'm really struggling for defenders at the moment. And it's the same when I look at defenders to buy. Cash, Bournemouth, like, they're all not great. They're all not great. Tarkowski would be the one I'd actually really want to keep, but I would just be short of that if I go Thiago. But I am going to want Thiago at some point anyway, I think. 4 City players, Donnarumma, Foden, Semenyo, Haaland. Will that still work? And if not, who should you take out? Yeah, you can keep your City players if you've got 4 or 5 of them. But the first transfer you make after this week or any week has to be selling a City player. But I would probably keep them for this week and probably keep them for 22, for 23 and 24 as well. Sorry, 22 and 23. Tavernier and Thiago move looks really good and makes a lot of sense. I think it probably does. I actually think it's probably the best move. I think it's better than buying Bruno for City and Arsenal. And playing Anderson. Like, Anderson's great, don't get me wrong, but he does get 3 and 4 every week, and I like Tavernier. Joey, let me take a look. Play Rodon or get Alderete, Cunha for Wilson. I think Rodon's fine at home to Fulham this week. I don't think I'd need to rush into Alderete. I'd buy Alderete over Rodon, but I wouldn't move move sideways. Does Harry Wilson have any set pieces? He has some free kicks, yeah. With Gay going to City, is the likes of Richards, Munoz still a good option? I think they're worse from clean sheet points of view. They're still not bad options, but they're still not the best. Still not the best. Would I transfer Foden for... I don't know who that was meant to be. Is it worth doing O'Reilly to Timber now? Yeah, if you can do O'Reilly to Timber, I would. Message an hour. Miley or Anderson to start? I'd start Anderson over Miley, I think. I'm not considering Enzo, no. He just doesn't really work with the transfers that I want. Either I go all in and I buy Bruno, or I don't and I buy Tavernier. No, I'm likely to make a transfer. And maybe I just go Ekitike for Thiago. I mean, I quite fancy keeping Ekitike. Unless you need the money, that's the thing. If he's going to be available now, if he's got this ongoing fitness concern, then it's an issue, right? But Burnley, Bournemouth, Newcastle, 2 of the 3 are at home. Wirtz is playing better. Wirtz is playing well. Salah coming back, who knows what that does. Bournemouth defensively are all right, but they're okay. Newcastle at home is better than Newcastle away. City at home, Sunderland, Forest. Like, long term, you could end up... I don't think I'll keep him because I don't think he's worth the money. But, yeah. Well, we've got no City news yet, no. Who would I bench? Foden, Enzo, or Thiago? Probably Thiago, but the fact that I'm considering buying him is interesting, but probably that. Does Hughes start again with Delap still potentially ill? I hope not. I think he'll go false 9. I think he'll go Neto up front, which boosts Palmer. It boosts Enzo this week, right? Because Enzo will probably play 10, Palmer on the right, Neto up front, and then Garnacho or Esteval. It's possible that he goes Palmer in the 10, Esteval, Neto, Garnacho, but I don't think that would happen. I think that's too flimsy. Tavernier or Thiago, who to bench? I'd probably play Tavernier over Thiago. Garnacho, Enzo or Neto. Enzo's just the safest if you're buying a Chelsea attacker. Yeah, it could be João Pedro, actually. João Pedro is available, so yeah, it could just be him. If you have Semenyo, Foden and O'Reilly, who do I sell and for who? I'd sell O'Reilly first, but you could just keep him for the next 2 and just keep quadruple City if you can. Cunha to Bruno or Tav. Bruno is better than Tav, but it depends what the other transfer allows you to do. Like, my moves, although Thiago's not great this week, Thiago next week is better than Bruno next week, right? Away at Arsenal, as good as a player is, a player at home to Forest is probably better. Sorry, Age. Sorry, I'd rather have Thiago at home to Forest than Bruno at United.
I agree.
People saying that you're seeing stuff on Twitter. If you actually are, please could you tag me in it? Because it's always useful for me to see, and then I can judge whether a source is reliable or not. So if you see anything, please do tag me in it. I don't see anything, so... Oh, Samuel Luckhurst on Facebook. Dallo, Shaw, Casemiro and Mino, Ahmad, Fernandez, Dorgu and Burmo. How can that be right? Sorry, who's playing where? Who exactly is playing where in that? Is that Burmo 9? Is that Bruno 9? No, but then there's no 10 in there, so Bruno has to be 10. Is it Dorgu up front? Maybe I should start Dorgu. Maybe I should start Dorgu. Maybe I should start Dorgu. Maybe Dorgu's going to play up front. I mean, I would... it would probably be enough. I mean, Samuel Luckhurst is normally reliable, but why has he put it on Facebook and not anywhere else? Surely not. Like, surely that's not the lineup. Dorgu left wing. That would be interesting. I don't want to retweet the lineup because it's a rumour, but it doesn't have Cunha in it. It's probably enough for me to sell Cunha. Whether that's to Bruno, who is in the lineup, of course he is, he's always in it, or whether it's Tavernier. I'm fancying the Tavernier punt a little bit. He's unsure if it's true or not. I mean, exactly. But then he's a big reporter, so like a big reporter like that can't just say that someone's benched off a whim. Like they have to have some sort of understanding about whether it's true or not. It does make Mbermo interesting, yeah. It also, the thing about that, right, is let's say that was the system that they were going to go with, right? And Mbermo suddenly was going to be an incredible pick. Does it make it better to not buy Bruno and wait and see what happens with United? I'm slowly, you might be able to tell if you've watched these streams long enough that as we get towards the deadline, I slowly convince myself to do something. I'll read the whole team, and please, before I do, this is only a rumour, but it has been shared by a Man United reliable reporter on Facebook. The lineup is Lamons, Dallo, Maguire, Martinez, Shaw, Casemiro, Mino, Fernandez, Ahmad, Dorgu, and Burmo. Just can't see a front three of Ahmad and Burmo, Dorgu. What position is Dorgu playing? Left wing. And who? Oh, and Burmo up front? Surely not. I mean, especially when Sesko's playing so well, I'd be surprised if that's right, but it's enough for me to sell CUNHA for sure. Yeah. Thank you to Jimmy and thank you to Varon for tagging me and stuff. Varon, I have that account blocked though. Nothing on City yet. We've got 25 minutes to go until the deadline. I think right now the most likely scenario will be Tavernier and Thiago. It leaves me money for Foden to Bruno, as long as Foden doesn't drop twice or Bruno doesn't rise twice, which I don't think is going to happen. Foden won't drop twice before Wolves, and Bruno's not going to rise twice before United. So I should be all right. The only thing is it doesn't leave me money for a defensive upgrade in 24. I mean, in 24, I mean, if Foden suddenly looks great, I technically don't need to buy Bruno in 24, but could be that I do Saka to Bruno in 24. That'll give me money for Dorgu. But maybe if Dorgu's playing left wing, I won't need to sell him. And I just play Dorgu in my defence. Maybe. Maybe this is the route to say... maybe this is the route to say, Harry, you don't need to sell Dorgu. Yeah, I mean, that Margay move to Manchester City is getting closer. I mean, it's basically been given the here we go, haven't it? Thoughts on Enzo or Palmer? Will still have money in the bank for Rodgers to Bruno after the tough fixtures. I'd go Enzo. I still would go Enzo over Palmer. I would still do it. What's Tav's data like? His XG is not great. 0.36 against Arsenal. 0.04. He just gets the odd big chance. That was a pen, though, I think. He does just have the random game where he hauls. Yeah. You think it could be leaked wrongly, deliberately? Quite possibly. Quite possibly. But if a City player or a City representative is looking at that team thinking that that's gospel and that's how they're going to line up against them, I'm not sure. But, yeah. If it was an easier fixture, I'd play Dorgu. If it was a better fixture, I would. Cunha to Rodgers or play James Krupi. I'd just be looking to sell. I'd be looking to sell Cunha. Yeah. Would I transfer Foden for Semenyo? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't move sideways like that. You're stuck with Vandenberg, who to buy. You have Anderson and Dorgu. Alderete or Richards probably, or just wait and free up money for Senesi in a couple of weeks. Rodgers, O'Reilly for Enzo Timber. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be selling Rodgers if you've gone there, but I like the other two you're buying. Tavernier's not proven yet, no, but more set pieces and more penalties with the players leaving is always nice. Always nice. But yeah, I agree. He's a little bit unproven. Anderson or Senesi. I'd play Anderson over Senesi. Start Senesi or O'Reilly. Probably O'Reilly. Any temptation to captain Ekatike? Not really. Like, I'm happy enough owning him, but I don't think I'd trust it enough to put the armband there. Start Richards or Alderete. Alderete, definitely. I would want to... If I had a Sunderland defender, I wouldn't even be crossing my mind to bench him or not. I wouldn't even be crossing my mind to bench him. Start Thiago or Tavernier? Probably Tavernier. 5 Man City players. You have Semenyo, Foden. What should you do? I just play them all. If you want to sell one of them, I'd probably sell O'Reilly. But yeah, just play all your City players, I think, if you've got 5 of them. Bournemouth new signing, reduce mins for Tavernier. I don't think so, because they've got to find minutes to replace Kluivert and to replace Semenyo. That's the minutes that they're bringing in to replace those minutes that they've lost, not Tavernier, who's played like 90 every week. Pretty much since game week 4. I mean, even the start, he didn't start Leeds. Apart from that, afterwards, he's played pretty much every game. He's got 4 goals, 3 assists in 21. That's a return every 3 games. For a player at his price, it's not that is all right. Fixtures are getting better. You've got to expect, with the fixtures being better, that they probably score more goals. Yeah, I've seen the Andy's tweet. I mean, Dorgu at left wing. I mean, maybe I put him above Tarkowski. I mean, I'm going to sell. And I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to go Tavernier. I think I'm going to go Tavernier, Thiago, and bench Anderson. I mean, I could always bench Thiago, but that doesn't really make sense, right? Cunha to Tavernier or roll. I think I'm going to go Tavernier. It's just whether I go and buy Thiago. I mean, his data has been better, right? I know he's just scored 5 goals in two games, and he'll probably now blank for the next few, but it works quite well as a combination of transfers. Is Minter playing? I would sell Minter to Tavernier if you had Minter. If I had Minter, he would definitely be going to Tavernier or to Harry Wilson. Alderete, Tarkowski, O'Reilly, start 1 and bench order. Alderete, Tarkowski, O'Reilly. I'd have Alderete first, Tarkowski third, O'Reilly second. So you have Saka, Rice, Foden, Garner, Bruno Guimaraes and Madrid with 0 transfer suggestion over the next 2 game weeks. Saka's good, Rice good, Foden to Bruno Fernandes probably in 24. Let me go and take a look. People said I missed a couple of super chats. Let me have a look. Ekatike versus Bruno until wildcard 32. Which one and why? I'd go Bruno, a midfielder, more routes to points and more reliable. Is Bowen a sell or a keep? Is Bowen a sell or a keep? I mean, he's a sell, but the issue is there's no forward that I would really go rushing to buy. So he's probably a keep in that situation then. But I don't think he's worth it. Start Enzo or Rodgers. I'd start both of them. You must have a player you could bench over both of those. If I had to bench one, I'd probably bench Enzo because he's the more unknown certainty. Keane to Gabriel for a -4. Defenses Alderete, Chalobah, and O'Reilly. Defenses Alderete, Chalobah, O'Reilly. Would I do Keane to Gabriel for a -4? Keane to Gabriel for a hit. Yes, I would. Start Bowen or Elliot Anderson. I'd probably play Bowen, I think. Buy Virgil or Frimpong. I probably wouldn't buy either. Do you really want them from next week? If I had to buy one, I'd still buy Van Dijk. CUNHA to Rice or Enzo will just wait. I'd go Rice. Play Goodmanson or Anderson. I'd go... Leeds not bad at home. Yeah, I'd probably play Goodmanson over Anderson. You're stuck 2 million in the bank, 2 free transfers, maybe wildcard. Well, I wouldn't wildcard now. I feel like you've left it too late. Yeah. I wouldn't be wildcarding now at this point. People talking about Foden. If you want to tag me in it on Twitter, but I haven't seen it anywhere. And he has a great record against United, so I don't really see why he wouldn't start. But yeah, as always, if you see something and you want to send it with a link or whatever on Twitter, that would be great. Or even just a screenshot and tag me in it. All is fine. But yeah. Gravenberch has been the best Liverpool mid this season. Why is he being ignored? He's still a little bit like Caicedo, that it's hard to see the fixtures being... Sorry, the returns being reliable enough going forward. Bench which two? O'Reilly, Anderson, Richards, Rodon. I'd bench Richards and I'd probably play O'Reilly over Anderson. I would definitely play Rodon at home. CUNHA to Tavernier and Bowen to Thiago. Good moves for a hit. I'm not sure I'd do Bowen to Thiago for a hit, no. Unless you just want to get it done. Why start Senesi over Anderson? I prefer the fixture slightly for Bournemouth, and he's probably slightly more likely to get DEFCON. Why Tavernier and not Wilson? I like the Fulham fixtures, but I've also missed Harry Wilson quite a lot. And from 24 onwards, those Bournemouth fixtures are just great. Yeah. I've seen all the United stuff for those. Thank you for sending it. Lazy FPL have just tweeted that Ekatike starts. And they've been reliable, so that's always good news. It does mean that there are... I mean, that's not until 3... What time is that game? 3 o'clock? 2 a.m. Yeah, it's one of the midday games. We don't have anything on City yet. So yeah, mainly because I think Wilson's great, but I like the long-term fixtures for Bournemouth. Cherky to Tavernier and O'Reilly to Chalobah. Yes, I don't mind it. I'm not sure I'd be rushing to sell O'Reilly, but yes, I quite like those two moves. CUNHA to Bruno or Tav. Have money for Bruno already. If you don't need the money for something else, then yeah, just go straight to Bruno. Yeah, just go straight to Bruno. Would I start Kevin Schade? Yes, I would start one. Wilson Tavernier, definitely Wilson. What's new? Not much. Looks like Ekitike starts, and it sounds like the United team might be all over the place, but we don't really know. CUNHA to Caicedo. I wouldn't buy Caicedo. His returns have gone. We knew they would dry up eventually, and it feels like that has been the case. Tav and Thiago for CUNHA and Guiu -4 or just Tav. I don't think Thiago's worth the hit, to be honest, no. Thiago would be quite high up my benching ranking. I'd probably start him. If I was going to sell Foden, who would I buy? I'd just go to Bruno, I think. Yeah, if I had the money. Why not bring Tavernier in and roll the second free? What, and just play Anderson? I mean, I could do that. I could just leave the money and not buy Thiago. And then I could buy Thiago next week for free if I wanted to. Or I could leave the money and do Anderson to Bruno. Do I need to buy Thiago this week? Suppose not. That's probably quite a good point. If I don't buy Thiago this week, I could just buy him next week, or it leaves me money for... Oh, it actually leaves me 0.1 short. But it leaves me pretty close of doing Anderson up to Bruno. Yeah, maybe I do that. But then I've basically got to hope that Thiago blanks. Vert, Semenyo, Rice, and Bruno Guimaraes, Wilson and DCL bench. I'd probably bench. To be honest, I'd be more inclined to bench Semenyo and just take the minutes for Wilson or Calvert-Lewin over Semenyo, and probably Bruno Guimaraes. Yeah, I've got to sell CUNHA. We've only got 9 minutes to go until the deadline. FPL newsletter, Lazy FPL have also said that Gakpo starts. I do want to leave it because... if there was a City thing right at the... Well, I suppose I could go Tavernier. And then I am going to leave it to the last minute just because there are a few leaks. I mean, they're mainly City, but I'm not sure Thiago... Is Thiago definitely worth it? Or I just hope he blanks. Chelsea defensively all over the place, though. I quite like the idea of Thiago and being able to bench him in 26 for basically his hardest game against Arsenal. I quite like that. Because then if you remove Arsenal, right? I mean, Chelsea away, Forest at home, Villa away, Newcastle away, Brighton at home, Burnley away, Bournemouth away, Wolves at home, Leeds away. Like, that's a pretty decent... That's a half-decent run of fixtures if you take Arsenal out of it. The best wildcard, if you need the wildcard, I would check out the complete guide video from yesterday morning, but I'd probably take out... I'd probably take Munoz out of it. I did like the wildcard. That's basically the only change I'd make, despite the chaos. Wilson or Thiago to start. I'd definitely play Wilson. So I think I'm going to go Tavernier, and then it's just whether I buy... Thiago or not. Then does leave me the money for Bruno for Foden. Cunha to Rice or Minter to Tav. Cunha to Rice or Minter to Tavernier. Rice. I'd go Rice. I'd just get rid of Cunha. There are rumours that Cunha's not going to start, which I'm quite surprised by, but that's what the... Yeah. It's what the team news looks like. So let's get to it, shall we? There are no City leaks at the moment. I mean, we still have 4 minutes to go before the deadline, but yeah, we've got nothing on City at the moment. So, Cunha to Tavernier. And go for the cheap option on pens, 90, great fixtures until wildcard. And can rotate him in and out with Anderson, potentially, if I upgrade Mark Guiu. So, Cunha out to... Why Tavernier over Wilson? The long-term fixtures for Bournemouth basically do it for me. Yeah. So that will be the first one. And then it's just if... and then it's just if I buy Thiago or not. Wilson scores against every team. He seems to, but surely it dries up at some point, and got to try and find the next thing. Like, if I'm going to buy Thiago, I buy Thiago and Wilson. I'm basically just 3 weeks or 4 weeks behind everyone else. I mean, that's not necessarily the best way to think about it. So, Cunha to Tavernier first transfer is done. And then do I buy Thiago in place of Mark Guiu? Do I do the second move? Do I do Thiago to Guiu, in for Guiu? Should I take a hit for Enzo or Rice? If you're doing... if you're selling Cunha, then yeah. Yes. Check your previous. You have one free transfer. Your team is Sanchez, Timber, Anderson, Gabriel and Rice and money. Sorry. Virgil van Dijk, Barnes, Virgil van Dijk, Ekitike to Gabriel and Rice. Yeah, I like any route to buy Gabriel and Rice is probably going to be a couple of transfers that I quite like. There are rumours that Cunha is benched. We don't know how reliable they are, though. They're shared by a reliable reporter. But it's not like a reliable source, if that makes sense. Right, how long have we got? 2 minutes. I think I just do it. Someone said Thiago was predicted to rise as well tonight. I mean, he might do. He might. If he scores, he will. Yeah. It leaves me exact money. It leaves me 0.1 spare for Foden. Foden nearly 200% to drop. To be honest, that's fine. Like, the drop doesn't impact my selling price. So as long as he doesn't drop again before Wolves, I will have exact money to go Foden to Bruno next week. There's now the Manchester United news is now tweeting, will Cunha start? Right, we literally don't have very long. We've got a minute and a half. We've literally got, and that timer is until the deadline rather than a minute before as well. Right. I'm gonna do it right. So Giu back to Thiago. I basically use 5 transfers to sell players, lose points, and go back again. But anyway, Mark Giu back to Thiago. Confirm Thiago away. I could almost bench boost. Right. Yeah, the thing is, and one of the reasons that I've done it is because, yeah, I might sell Ekatike, and I could have done Ekatike. I could have done Ekatike back to Thiago, but I can just do Ekatike to someone like a Giu, or sorry, to a Krupi or a Mane. There are 40 seconds to go until the deadline, though. We are going to end all answering of questions, and if you need to go and check your teams, please go and do so. Make sure you've got everything set up. Let me go and make sure my team is as it should be. Everything is in place as it should be. Thiago in, Tavernier in, Anderson drops to the bench, Dorgu second bench, and Tarkowski third bench. Captain Haaland, vice captain Ekatike. I'm going to go Dorgu over Tarkowski just because Dorgu looks like he's going to play left wing potentially for Man United today. That's what the leaks are, but he's going to stay on my bench regardless. Anyway, that is everything for game week 22. Is the game updating? Not yet. Not yet. We've got a... Oh, it is updating. Rodon, Van Heck, or O'Reilly. I would have benched probably O'Reilly. They're all pretty similar. Probably would have played Rodon and O'Reilly. So I ended up like this. Foden starting, Anderson dropped to the bench, Tavernier and Thiago in. That is going to be everything. Let me tweet out my transfers. Game week, what? Game week 22. CUNHA plus Giu out. Finally, wildcard is over. Sometimes when you're on wildcard, it's more difficult than it is actually good. Thiago and Tavernier in. Leaves money for Foden to Bruno in 24. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Burrashid, I'm very sorry if I missed your super chat. Please drop me a message on Instagram and I will answer your question ahead of game week 23 instead. If you send a screenshot of it to me on Instagram, if I miss your super chat, then send me a screenshot and I will be more than happy to help you ahead of game week 23 if you send it over there. I probably would have played Anderson over O'Reilly, but I think there's not much in it. I expect Palmer to start. Is Gakpo playing? Apparently. Apparently. Don't play music. There we go. There we go. Wildcards are more pain than they are sometimes. I agree. Kajam, I do apologise. I probably would have, bought Enzo in place of Stack. Let me have a look. Right, let's go and play some Fantasy Challenge. Let me see. What is the challenge for this week? You bottled the Ekatika captain. At least we can hope he does well if we've got him. So, what is the challenge? Boring. +1 for every chance created. Well, we know who's going in, don't we? Bruno in. Sort by chances. Is there a chances created? I don't even think there is. Let's just sort by creativity then. Yeah, Bruno Guimaraes is definitely going in. I don't really mind about any of the forwards. I probably have to pick one, don't I? Calvert-Lewin, because I almost bought him. Or we're going to put Vert or Szoboszlai. Semenyo, Rice. I'd go Szoboszlai. Who's good defensively? Senesi, Van Heck, Collins. Oh, I can't have both of them. All right, I'm going to keep Van Dijk. Oh, Enzo, yeah. Basically, anyone who's not in my team. And then we'll put Raya in goal. Just because. Oh, there's a big chances created. This will do. Basically, pick all the players that I didn't buy into my team this week. I sorted by influence. Well, I've got all the influencers in my midfield then. All of them. Right, 10 here. Basically got match of the day challenge for the next however long. Yeah, it will just be Foden, I guess, but I sorted by influence. Right, there's a big chance created. Why do I think they don't bat the early kickoff doesn't apply to Haaland? Because don't bat the early kickoff doesn't really actually work. Like, it's just because players blank. But players blank in kickoffs all the time in different matches. It's just because it's a bit of a narrative that it's the way it works. But, yeah. Cunha to Bruno and Welbeck to DCL. Yeah, nice moves. Wilson to Enzo and O'Reilly to Senesi in 24. Yeah, nice moves. Nice moves. Right. I think I'm actually going to end the stream there. It is 10:10 in the evening here. I will quickly go and enjoy the last remaining parts of my evening before I go to bed. And then I wake up and basically have a whole match of the day challenge to wake up and see all of the results. So let's hope that I wake up and see points for all of the players that I bought. But then I've got Thiago against Chelsea. Anyway, let's wrap it up there. I'm in Sydney at the moment. I have been for a week or two. I come back on Tuesday, back Wednesday. It takes a while to get home, but yes, back on Tuesday. So all will be back to normal. The content schedule will be the same this week. It will be Monday morning transfer plans, Tuesday morning transfer targets, then team selection Thursday, complete guide Friday, basically. So everything will be back to normal this week, and it's a normal week anyway. I am not going to do an all-nighter to watch the game. I might end up staying awake once I see the Man United game, but given I didn't buy Bruno, I probably won't now, because I'll just want to wake up and see the result in the morning. Anyway, I think I've got 9 players playing today. I've then got Tavernier and Verbruggen on Monday night. So hopefully lots of points when I wake up. Anyway, have a good one, everyone. Good luck in game week 22. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe before you go, and I'll be back again very soon.